That's my quick response to Brian Greene's comment on what is life, which I love, by the way. It's a great approach. What he says is that life is a system that can resist the second law of thermodynamics. Basically, it can keep the organization internally and disorganizes everything which is outside. However, it can keep internal structure against the second law of thermodynamics that will require the system to dissipate. And locally, that's probably true, and I would say it's an old version of our understanding of what is life. However, I wanted to inject some additional thoughts, because when we talk about life, we usually talk about consuming energy and matter, those two things. I think life scavenges information and uses those pieces of information to retain certain structure. So it has one more dimension when you compare life to unanimated objects like crystals, for example, that life is constantly scavenging information. So if it takes a protein, it does not disassemble this protein completely, right? It disassembles it just to a certain level and then uses those pre-existing blocks to build other structures. So definitely we not only consume energy and matter, we also consume and scavenge information. And this happens at different levels. We can talk about cellular level, but also on the consciousness level, we constantly scavenge information and we use it to sustain the operation, which we call life. So that's one thought. A second thought would be that I think we eventually, if you change the time scale, if you take a living organism, it's gonna dissipate. So on the longer time scales, we do obey the second law of thermodynamics. So not really a surprise there, right? So depending, yes, locally, okay, I agree, but you can get a hint from this piece of information. So if we are locally resisting the second law of thermodynamics, but globally not, we look like a disturbance. Yeah, we look like a vortex, maybe. So maybe the nature of life is more like a disturbance rather than some structure that was created, such as you mentioned it, a steam engine, right? So maybe we should look at life as something that allows certain streams of matter and energy and information to flow through it, because we constantly expel matter, we constantly expel energy, we constantly expel information, right? But within the boundaries of the living creature, we have this disturbance. So this information and energy and matter flow through us in a controlled manner. So that would be my comment. I love your video, but I would add those thoughts to it. Let me know what you think. Thank you very much. Bye.